Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Spin Reviews, and today I'm going to be talking about the new Jason Mraz album, Yes. So for those of you that are fans of the channel that missed the last couple videos, I've been away on vacation for pretty much the first part of August. But I decided to bring a couple new albums with me, those being Jason Mraz's Yes, which I'm going to be reviewing here, and Pharrell Williams' Girl, that review of which I'll be filming sort of back-to-back with this and uploading in a couple days or so. Now I'm going to keep the sort of backstory part of this review briefer than I would in my other reviews, but in a nutshell, I really love his debut album, Waiting for My Rocket to Come. It really brought that sort of unique brand of pop music of his with sort of singer-songwriter approach with the faster cadences and the upbeat, rich instrumentation, the catchy melodies. It all sort of came together really well and definitely deserved the huge commercial success it got, at least for a debut album. And even though he's had like some little dips here and there, like on 2005's Mr. A to Z, which I actually did a track-by-track review of a couple years ago on Metacritic, which I'll link in the description, he did sort of get like a cockier kind of sex-crazy attitude on some songs that I just wasn't a fan of at all, just made him a little less likable. Then on We Sing, We Dance, We Steal Things, I feel like he was just kind of coasting on some songs, and of course had that terrible breakout hit, I'm Yours. And Love is a Four-Letter Word, his last album, it did tend to get a little pretentious at times with how much more broad it got in theme. There were still enough great songs in each album that I at least say I like all of them. Then we get to this new album, Yes, and it's a bit of a different story. The sound to me is the sound of a guy whose life is just so pleasant, so perfect, so paradise-like that he's just run out of all inspiration and ideas and just decided to throw out some boring album for the heck of it. Now granted, the guy's never exactly been an overflowing well of wisdom, but he managed to always make up for it with, again, that catchy, upbeat instrumentation, the engaging melodies, the clever wordplay, and of course that likable personality sort of carry all the way through it. Here, though, we just get, for the most part, a set of dull, uninteresting love songs. Now, I'm going to loosely quote my Jack Johnson review from last year, link in the description, with some of the names and song titles changed, of course. I feel like this is more of a regression for Jason than anything else. Mostly because the songwriting is very content and mellow. Now, this isn't inherently a bad thing. Of course, there can be great, happy music, which we'll talk about in the Pharrell review. However, I think the major problem that can hold this album back is that in those great, happy songs you hear about, is at least delivered with some sense of energy or fun. Here, though, on tracks like Hello You Beautiful Thing and A World With You and many others, I can't help but just feel bored by songs that are so utterly lacking in content or drive thematically. A lot of this album just sounds like a guy with an acoustic guitar, a perfect family, and nothing to talk about outside these lovey-dovey cliches with occasional spurts of introspection sprinkled throughout the track list. I understand how this would appeal to some people, but I'm personally not one of them. I need some kind of driving inspiration outside of a chill vibe, and I'm just not getting that on a lot of songs here. And I'd even be fine with those songs that are at least upbeat or interesting musically, but in most cases they're just not. At the same time, though, there are definitely some exceptions, mostly coming in the middle of the album. Songs like Everywhere, Quiet, and especially the closer Shine really managed to take that familiar love song theme and actually do something remotely creative and interesting with it. Plus, Everything, Shine, and Out of My Hand stand out by actually being three of the only songs here to have a pulse musically. The cover of It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday is also really well done, with this nice minimalist arrangement, though I can't help but notice how that and Out of My Hands are pretty out of place on the album thematically, taking a much more negative and somber tone compared to the rest of it, and it just feels a little uneven in that regard. There are also two more here that deviate from the formula, but it doesn't yield quite as good results. Three Things is your typical pick yourself up when you're feeling down anthem, and Back to the Earth is just this terribly preachy hippie song about connecting with nature and crap like that. It just gets really insufferable after about a minute in, pretty much. But now I gotta talk about what's unquestionably my favorite song here, Shine. The instrumentation is just fantastic here, really building over the course of its 6+ minute runtime, and reminds me a lot of Song for a Friend from Mr. A to Z, which is the only song of his to run longer. Not to mention the lyrics here are probably the best on this whole album. Jason's voice has a good amount of passion when it needs to, and just makes me wish that he put this much effort into the rest of the album. as is though with the scoring changing from out of 100 to out of 10, I gotta give this a 5. I can't even say I was let down by this album just because the 2 singles leading up to it were so unfortunately underwhelming. But I have to say this was one of the more, I guess, disappointing albums of the year for me, I guess, since I have consistently liked his albums up until this point. Granted, Jason Mraz is not exactly a genius singer-songwriter. I'm well aware that he's somewhat justified in terms of that whole white guy with the acoustic guitar thing, but I know that he's capable of a lot more than this, and it's sad to just see him kind of treading water this time around. So yeah, what do you guys think about this album? Do you agree with what I had to say, disagree, have any feedback about the channel in general? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to be civil. Share this around with anyone who might be interested, like the Facebook page in the description for updates, commentaries, and music news, and reviews of older albums, and hopefully I'll see you in the next episode of Spinner Reviews. I gotta say, I'm pretty proud of myself. I made this whole review without one bad joke about the album title.